came too far. In the darkest days, don't know where we are or who we are. Yeah, we came too far. In the darkest days, don't know where we are or who we are. Yeah, we came too far. In the darkest days, don't know where we are or who we are. Yeah, we came too far. In the darkest days.
Alright, what up, y'all? Planet of Fakes, Hollywood. Happy Valentine's Day. We're going to be having a Jussie Smollett Valentine's Day. He's the faker of this year. Still faking. He did this in, 2018? And we're still getting indicted. Jussie Smollett, new indictment for his fake LGBT bashed event that he staged. What I found amazing is the Chicago Police Department released 69 hours of footage. 69. Isn't that a crazy number? First they put out 36. Now they put out 69. 36 was for Kanika Jenkins. 69 for Jussie Smollett. I knew this was fake from the beginning. I called it was fake. Everybody bashed me for it. Said I was a hater. No, I know what happens when you really get beat up. Anyway, this is the Jussie Smollett Valentine's Day fakery. Yeah, what else did they bring to our attention that I didn't know? Oh, they actually got footage of the brothers in the cab. They got footage of the brothers running. Yeah, I know about the footage of police entering Jussie's house with the noose on. What other footage they had? I didn't really see no other footage. I'm gonna look for the 69-hour footage myself. 69 hours of what? The public, the world, Chicago? Anyway, Jussie Smollett deserves to go to jail, but I also wanted y'all to listen to them call him an African American. Wasn't this dude like born in France or something like that? Like, they just... African American is the new N-word, man. That's it. If you feel different, put it in a comment. If the video don't start when I stop talking, what you heard and saw was the content. For additional content, click the link in the description. Like, follow, share, subscribe, comment, hit the bell, visit my community wall. And if you have time, go to www.amor-ika.com/TV. Look, that's the brothers in the taxi. Also goes to prove that Kanika Jenkins footage is not real. Who notices just for this 30-second clip, they can't show you the cab driver, but they showed you all those people in the hotel while that girl was wandering around, right? Fake. This is fake, and Kanika's fake. But the fact that they have to blur the cab driver tells you that that was a real person, not in their commercial psychological operation, man. Planet of Fakes, man. Like, follow, share, subscribe, comment, hit the bell, visit my community wall, and if you have time, go to www.amor-ika.com/TV. That's our Planet of the Fakes tube. We are the new umbrella 2020.
Planet of the Fakes Hollywood and Pig Star HH News. Jussie Smollett is indicted by a special prosecutor in Chicago on 6 counts for lying to police about being the victim of a racist homophobic attack, a year after similar charges were dropped. Empire actor hit with 6 disorderly conduct charges related to the hoax attack. Smollett was arrested last February and charged with 16 felonies. Cops said he lied about being the victim of a racist and homophobic attack. He faced 50 years in prison until state's attorney Kim Foxx dropped the charges. She has since been accused of misconduct because she interfered in the police investigation into what happened. Smollett said he was attacked on January 29 when he was walking home at 2 a.m. He claimed his attackers were light-skinned and shouted racist and homophobic slurs. Brothers Abel and Olo Sundero later told police Smollett paid them to stage the attack. He claimed all along that he was innocent and that he was telling truth. His attorney issues a statement saying the attempt to re-prosecute him is clearly all about politics, not justice. Jussie Smollett and his February 2019 mugshot. Jussie Smollett has been indicted by a special prosecutor in Chicago, nearly a year after the initial charges against him over an alleged hoax attack were dropped. A Cook County grand jury hit the Empire actor with 6 counts of disorderly conduct on Tuesday for allegedly staging a racist and homophobic hate crime and lying to police about it. Special Prosecutor Dan Webb announced the charges against Smollett and said that the further prosecution of the actor is in the interest of justice. It is now more than a year since Smollett claimed he was attacked at 2 a.m. on January 29, 2019 while walking to a subway near his Chicago home to be. Nigerian brothers celebrity profile and salary. Got married in Hawaii weeks after her conman father, 60, who set up a cult and his daughters. This is clearly all about politics, not justice. Full statement from Jussie Smollett's attorney. Pending civil claims against the city of Chicago and CPD officers for malicious prosecution. And one of the two witnesses who testified before the grand jury is the very same detective Mr. Smollett is currently suing for his role in the initial prosecution of him. After more than 5 months of investigation, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has not found any evidence of wrongdoing whatsoever related to the dismissal of the charges against Mr. Smollett. Rather, the charges were appropriately dismissed the first time because they were not supported by the evidence. The attempt to re-prosecute Mr. Smollett 1 year later on the eve of the Cook County State's attorney election is clearly all about politics, not justice. Smollett was then hit with a 16-count grand jury indictment and faced more than 50 years behind bars until State's Attorney Kim Foxx suddenly dropped all the charges last March in exchange for him doing community service. It was a decision that blindsided and outraged Chicago's former mayor Rahm Emanuel and former chief of police Eddie Johnson. Smollett, who has all along insisted he is innocent, then sued the city for malicious prosecution. His attorney Tina Glandian issued a statement Tuesday saying, the attempt to re-prosecute Mr. Smollett 1 year later on the eve of the Cook County State's attorney election is clearly all about politics, not justice. Single quote, there have been various rounds of civil litigation, but the cases have been delayed because it has been so difficult to identify an impartial prosecutor. Webb was eventually brought in to examine the case. The saga began on January 30th last year when it emerged that Smollett claimed he had been the victim of a racist, anti-gay attack. At the time, it seemed he had been walking home from Subway in the middle of the night after returning home late on a delayed flight when he was approached. He told police afterwards his attackers identified him from the show he was on, Empire, and called him both the N-word and F*********T. He said they beat him, poured bleach on him, then put a noose around his neck. Smollett went back to his apartment where his friend, Frank Gaston, was. It was Gaston who insisted they call police. When officers arrived, the actor refused to hand over his phone. He went to the hospital to be checked over but had no major injuries. Smollett pictured suffering injuries to his face in the hospital after the alleged attack +6. Smollett pictured suffering injuries to his face in the hospital after the alleged attack. This is a police photo of the rope used to create the noose in the alleged attack. +6. This is a police photo of the rope used to create the noose in the alleged attack. The Chicago Police Department vowed to investigate the incident with all its might, and celebrities around the world rushed to share their support of Smollett. He became a household name almost overnight. But as the police investigation progressed, leaks began from within the police department that all may not have been as it seemed. As the controversy grew, Smollett, determined to make his case, went on Good Morning America where he cried and insisted he was telling the truth. By then, Chicago PD had released grainy surveillance camera footage of two men walking near the scene of the incident itself, which was among the only part of his journey not captured on Chicago's vast network of security cameras that night. Chicago police have released 69 hours of video related to Jussie Smollett's alleged hate crime case on Monday, including footage of him wearing a noose he claimed his assailants threw on him. Smollett pictured above must wearing the noose. +6. Chicago police have released 69 hours of video related to Jussie Smollett's alleged hate crime case on Monday, including footage of him wearing a noose he claimed his assailants threw on him. Smollett pictured above must wearing the noose. Smollett unequivocally identified the two men in the grainy footage as his attackers. Neither their faces nor skin color could be made out in it. Unbeknownst to him, while he was conducting his GMA interview, the Chicago PD was building a case against him. They had identified the people in the video as the Osundero brothers and had backed up their belief by tracking the pair's movements in the days and hours both before and after the incident. Smollett was eventually arrested and charged with suspicion of lying to police. The brothers flew to Nigeria within hours of the January 29th incident and missed the media storm which followed. The Empire actor, Left, had claimed that he was attacked by two men who launched racial and homophobic slurs at him and threw a noose on him. Police later determined that he staged the attack and charged him with filing a false police report, and those charges were later dropped by Cook County prosecutor Kim Fox. The Empire actor, Left, had claimed that he was attacked by two men who launched racial and homophobic slurs at him and threw a noose on him. Police later determined that he staged the attack and charged him with filing a false police report, and those charges were later dropped by Cook County prosecutor Kim Fox. Right. When they landed back in the U.S., police investigators were waiting to question them. After hours of secret interviews, they told cops that Smollett had paid them to carry out the attack as part of an elaborate hoax. Special Prosecutor Dan Webb was appointed in August to examine what occurred in the case. +6. Special Prosecutor Dan Webb was appointed in August to examine what occurred in the case. Smollett was then arrested. In an extraordinary press conference afterwards, then Police Chief Eddie Gallagher accused him of inflaming race relations in Chicago and of wasting police time. He bellowed that Smollett had tried to leverage that attack to get his bosses at Empire to pay him more. Despite police outrage, prosecutor Kim Fox was quiet. The case then went to a grand jury which returned a stunning 16-felony indictment that would have put Smollett behind bars for more than 50 years if he had been convicted. By then, Fox had informally recused herself from the case.
Empire was charged again on Tuesday for falsely claiming to Chicago police that he had been the victim of a hate crime. The 6-count indictment comes nearly a year after Cook County prosecutors dropped charges against him for allegedly making the same false claim. Smollett, who is African American and gay, ignited a social media firestorm after he told police in January of 2019 that two masked men had thrown a noose around his neck, poured bleach on him, and shouted racial and homophobic slurs while expressing support for President Trump. Illinois prosecutors later charged Smollett with making up the attack, saying he hired two brothers to stage it and that he falsely reported a hate crime to draw publicity to himself after becoming dissatisfied with his Empire salary. But the Cook County State's Attorney's Office dropped the criminal charges in March, drawing anger from Chicago's police department and then Mayor Rahm Emanuel, who called it a, quote, whitewash of justice. The new charges, announced Tuesday, come at the recommendation of a special prosecutor, who was assigned to the case after a judge ruled the state's attorney's office had not properly handled it the first time around.
like you've seen this movie before. Former Empire star Jussie Smollett finding himself in almost the same legal jam he was just 1 year ago after a special prosecutor indicts him on multiple counts of disorderly conduct for allegedly claiming falsely that he was a victim of a hate crime. Our Chicago with the new developments. Good morning, Jeff.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, this is where it all started, right here along this Chicago street where actor Jussie Smollett claims he assaulted. Now, more than a year later, Smollett faces new charges for an attack that police believe he staged. The second indictment comes, Cook County State's Attorney Kim Fox's office initially dropped the charges back in March, despite police saying they had a strong case. At the time, little explanation was given, and that angered local officials like then Mayor Rahm Emanuel and
serve, no. What do I think justice is? Apology. They chose to hide behind to circumvent the judicial system.
Smollett was dropped and never had to claim any responsibility. He did end up paying $10,000 in bail and agreed to forfeit that money after he has maintained his innocence throughout the entire process.
I've been truthful and consistent on every single level since day one. This has been an incredibly difficult time, honestly one of the worst of my entire life.
Now, State's Attorney Kim Fox, who is up for re-election in about a month, questioned the timing of this all. Her team put out a statement about that. Meanwhile, Smollett is due in court February 24th. Ed, Sandra?
Jeff, Paul, thank you.
A picture. Obviously, the alleged statement of what happened here is horrific, and there's no place for it here in the city of Chicago. I know the police department is working aggressively to come to the bottom of what happened, but I want to be clear about the city of Chicago and our values. I think if you look at how we're responding, the city as a whole, taking care of each other, those are our values. And what was alleged done here, as the police are working on this, has no place in the city of Chicago.
Is from the night Empire star Jussie Smollett claims he was attacked. Chicago police have released 69 hours of video from Smollett's hate crime investigation, including footage of the actor with a noose around his neck. Cops are also releasing video of the two men who were allegedly paid to carry out the assault arriving at the scene of the crime. So why is this all coming out now, and will Smollett face new charges? Jussie Smollett's creative director, Frank Gatson, ushers officers into the actor's home. Smollett still has the noose around his neck. Police body cam shows Smollett remove the rope. Moments later, he asks cops to turn off their body cameras. Cops say Smollett paid Abel and Ola Osundaro $3,500 to stage the attack. 4 days before the assault, Smollett texted Abel, "Might need your help on the low. You're around to meet up and talk face to face." Then on January 29th at 1:22 a.m., the brothers took a taxi to the scene of the crime. The men wore hoods covering most of their faces. Cops also released surveillance video of the men running from the scene, then walking down the street. 2 weeks later, the brothers were arrested on the tarmac at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. They were questioned for hours. The videos are all part of a trove of evidence that cops say proves the attack was all a hoax.
This mountain of evidence was all released as a result of a Freedom of Information Act request. Ultimately, the investigative agencies were forced to turn it over to the public.
The brothers were never charged with the crime, while 37-year-old Smollett was slammed with 16 felony counts of disorderly conduct.
I've been truthful and consistent on every single level since day one.
All the charges were dropped in exchange for community service and court costs. A special prosecutor has been hired to review how the investigation was handled. The case could be reopened and Smollett charged again. The city of Chicago is also suing Smollett for the $130,000. That's the amount spent on police overtime to investigate the incident.
Hey, what up, y'all? Planet of Fakes here. 2020's coming, brand new everything. I got a brand new Instagram. Make sure you follow it, Planet_the_Fakes. And hey, Planet of Fakes back again. This is just a reminder. If you have any problems accessing the videos at our site, www.more-eka.com/TV, more than likely it's because you're on a cell phone or tablet. All you have to do is at the top of the browser, on the right hand, is normally 3 dots. You hit them. This menu comes down, hit desktop site. You have to switch from mobile view to desktop view, and all the videos will pop right up for you. Any other problems, just hit us up at support@more-eka.com. Thanks again for supporting. Right, Planet of Fakes here. I'd like to thank you for watching our video, but I also would like to remind you to please subscribe to our other pages. YouTube Streets, Planet of Fakes Kids, I'm Just Nosy, Kanika Jenkins, 36 Hours, POTFS, Planet of the Kings, POTFS Battle Zone, Planet of Fakes Extraordinary, Planet of Fakes for Pets, Umbrella, POTFS, Planet of Fakes for Families, Pigstar HH News,